This question from 7th July 2024 quiz 1 question paper ST. Consider designing a FSM. So please remember friends, designing the FSM. FSM means finite state machine. The class buffer with the following assumptions. So designing of the FSM, the class is a buffer. So this one in the code, public class buffer. This is a buffer following assumptions. So the maximum number of elements can be stored in the buffer is 2. For example, if the buffer has maximum size or capacity is equals to 2. That is given in the question. Size or capacity equals to 2. That is the buffer can allow maximum 2 elements only. And we ignore the specific object that is in the class buffer. Therefore, each element in the buffer is either null or object. The elements in the buffer are, there are 2 elements in the buffer. One is null and next one is object. If there is no element in the buffer, we represent with null. If the object present in the buffer, we represent with a object. If any elements are present in the buffer, it represents with the object. The buffer is a linear data structure. The elements are inserted at the front of the buffer. So that is, this is the buffer. For example, this is we insert in this front of the buffer, and the elements are inserted at the front of the buffer, whereas removed from the end of the buffer. This is the buffer we remove in this side. That is, minus means remove, plus means adding from the left side and removing from the right side only. So it's given in the question. So for example, we consider these are 2 elements in the buffer. So we are adding in the front, that is left, and the objects are added in the front and removed at the end. Only 2 elements, right? Minus and plus. So in the Java code, public class buffer, this is a class name with buffer and it consists of different methods. Private final static int capacity, that is the capacity of the buffer is 2, and the method is public boolean is full. The buffer is full if the buffer contains only 2 elements, right? So if the buffer contains 2 elements, if both the objects are present, that is, this is also object, this is also object, the buffer is full. This is called the buffer full. That is full state. This is one of the states. It's written true is full. Is full. It is asking the buffer is full. It written true if the buffer is full. If the list dot size, so the buffer is just like list, right? List dot size is equals to capacity is 2. List size is 2. 2 elements present, it returns 2, else it returns false. Okay, and the next function is boolean is empty. When the buffer is empty, so the buffer contains 2 elements, both are null, right? Null represents the no objects present in the buffer. If both are null, is empty. The buffer is empty. If the list dot size equals to 0, 0 means no elements present. That is, it returns true, that is the buffer is empty, otherwise it is full. If void insert int n, add the front of the buffer is not equal to full. Which condition we have to check? If we insert into the element, if it is object, it is full, right? The buffer is full. So the buffer is full, we cannot add any elements. If there is no object here, so that is object, where we insert elements in this direction, object and null, if we insert the elements, right? If we add another element, is not equal to is full, is not full, it's not full, the buffer list add first n. First, this is the first, right? So add first of n. List dot add first. This is the end. Remove means remove. List dot remove end. List dot remove last. Add first, remove last. So not this is end. In the question they are given last. So remove last, add first. Add first, remove last. So these are the methods described inside the class buffer. So identify the statements which correctly describe the FSM finite state machine. Buffer, right? The state of the buffer is empty. The buffer is empty. We can add any element in this direction, right? Object. So add in this direction null. That is only half of the buffer is full. Of full buffer. If it is object, it is full, right? The buffer is full. The three states possible states in three states are possible in the buffer. A buffer means two elements. Half buffer means only one element present. Null buffer means zero elements present in the buffer. Guard and trigger. So this one, the guard is a very important, friends. The guard in FSM is a condition. That is checking. Condition or check. Load is to be a load. Is to be. Triggers are actions. Action or events to coding. So because they given a code, right? Java code. So in codings, action is a method call. To insert or remove. True or false check. Is full, is empty, like this. Identify the statements which correctly describes the FSM. So in the first option, null is a state, right? Null comma null. So the capacity of the buffer is 2. Only 2 elements are allowed. That is null. Object null. That is, this is the first. This is the last element. So we insert in this direction. This is allowed, right? Half full buffer. This is object full. 2 elements are present. Full buffer. So are the states of the FSM? Yes, there are 3 states. These are the state S0, S1 and S2. We represent like states with in FSM. So this option is correct because these 3 states are allowed in FSM buffer. So guard, they are asking guard. Guard means condition check, right? We are checking true or false. Condition check true or false. What are the we are checking true or false? This is for true or false. That is full is the guard. Is full. So we are checking this one. So guard is full, is empty, right? Is full. Is full is the guard. True. For the transition, so transition means change the state, right? Transition means change state from object null to is full. Is full means, right? This is not full. Only one element is present. So we add another element. so it becomes object and object. It will call this method is full. Is a guard conditional check, that is the guard conditional check, that is change the transition here moves from the one element to two elements, right? Here only one element is present, here object means two elements. This requires an insertion operation, right? Insertion. So it calls the is full method. Is full is a guard condition. It is checking the guard, checking it's not full. It is checking the buffer is full. Here the size is 1, here the size is 2. So here the size is 1, we are adding two elements, size is 2, right? So it becomes to checking is full. It is not full, right? So it calls the insertion method. So it is yellowed. Before insertion of the element, it is checking is the buffer is full or not. So this is the guard means checking, check true or false. So because of that, this is a guard condition. Is full is the guard condition to change the object null to object state. This option is correct. So this is the empty. Is guard or not, is checking or not, is empty. From the transition from here object dot null means only one element present to two elements, right? Becomes 2. The size here the size is 1, here the size is 1, here the size is 2, right? So size 1 to 2 becomes, when it becomes, we add an element, right? Add an element. If we add an element, it becomes size 2. So is empty method checks the buffer size is 0. Empty means here it checking the size is. So friends, very important, you can remember only size. At this point you can check only size. That will help you solve this question. Okay, here so friends, here in this option is full means it checking the size 2, right? Full means size 2. Here the size 1 to size 2. It changes from size 1 to size 2, right? Okay, is full. If it is not full, we call the method insertion, right? It is the guard condition checking. Okay, it is true. So here in the size is 1 to size is 2, and here the is empty method checking size 0. Empty means the buffer is empty, right? Size 0. State object comma null, the size is already 1, right? So the is empty would return false. Is empty, it's not empty, right? We are already in this state size is 1. So is empty at this state, is empty returns false. So the condition inside the insert never checks the is empty. Is empty does not take guard condition. The is full is a guard the state transition from size 1 to size 2. That is object null to object update. Here the is empty does not guard. It does not guard the transition from object null to object. So it does not serve as a guard state. Changes the transition from size 1 to size 2, right? Here the insertion happen. Changing, adding means element size is increased, right? Here the size is increased, we are adding, that is insertion happen. See, is empty. Here is empty, the size is 0, right? Empty means buffer size is 0, no elements. Here the guard means checking true. This state is yellowed or not. It is checking if the state transition is yellowed. State transition change is yellowed or not. Object to null, that is already one element is present to 2. So is empty. Empty means size 0. Is empty is yellowed, is not yellowed, because we are from state 1 size 1 to 2. So is empty, it returns false. It does not empty, right? It is in the starting initial state is 1, initial size is 1. So it returns false. It allows the change it allowed the transition from 1 to 2 means we are adding an element, right? Adding an element, that is adding an object. We are adding size increasing, adding an object. How we add an object? By calling insert method, right? By calling the insert method. When the insert method is called here, so this one void insert int n to add at the front of the buffer. If it is full only, it calls, right? If it is full only, it calls. Is empty does not calls, right? Is empty, remove the last, it calls. So adding an element means insert. Insert method is full only, it calls. Only it calls. Here is empty, right? Is empty. So this is not a guard condition. This is not a guard condition. So this is not a guard condition for the transition from size object null to object, that is size 1 to increasing size 2. So last option, transition from object null. Object null means the size is 1, right? Size equals to 1 to object. Here also the size is 2. Is triggered by the method remove. So triggered means action, right? Action or an event by the method remove. So remove in the last, right? Last, first. We remove in this direction, we remove this element. This is the size 1 and object is size 2, that is 2 elements are present in the buffer. To go from one element to 2, that is we are changing the state, right? Changing the state 1 to 2, size 2, that is we are adding an element, right? Adding an element. Not by adding means insert. Adding means insert of calling an element. Insert of an element, not removing, right? If we remove, the size is reduced, right? Size is decreasing. Here the size is buffer is increasing. Friends, if you solve this type of question, only what is the initial size of the buffer and which elements are present, which state we are changing from state 1 to state 2, how the size is changing. By the calling the method, is size increasing or decreasing? If we calling the method insert, its size increasing, right? Size increasing. If we calling the method remove, size is decreasing. So you can remember that two only. Here in the method, size is increasing 1 to 2, right? So how the size is increasing? We are adding an element. That is how we are adding insert by calling the insert method, not remove method, right? Not remove method. So remove method, the decreasing the size, reduced to object, right? Object in the given option, object is triggered by, that triggered means changing the state, this state to this state, that is we are changing the state, change the state from initial state, this state to this state, by calling the action, that is triggered by calling in which action? Insert. By calling the action insert, not remove, right? Not remove. So because of that, this option is incorrect. Is guard the state from size 1 to size 2, changing, increasing. Insertion method. Insertion method is called when it is full, right? It is given in the code also. Is full only insert method call. Is empty, remove method calls. Okay, you have to watch this code. From this code only the options are correct or not, we will check. Okay friends, thank you for watching. If you like my videos, please like and subscribe my channel, and thank you for watching.